Hello, my friend. You asked me about authenticity. Well, that is a very big issue in existential therapy and in life itself. How can we be authentic? What does it mean to be authentic? What does it mean to say that you're going to be literally true to yourself? Well, if you believe that we all have a self, then it wouldn't be so difficult because you could just find out what exactly your self is and then stick to that and be true to it and just be, the way you are. But of course, we're not a self. We're not formed once and for all. We may be born with certain character traits and certain bodily shapes and in certain circumstances, and all of that shapes us in a way of being, but that way of being changes all the time. It changes according to what happens to us, the people we're with, the things we do, how much we engage, how much we withhold. It is very much about us being a lens that refracts light, that shows up certain things and not other things. So in that context, what does it mean to be true to yourself? Well, I've long given up trying to think of having to be true to myself. I would much rather be clear about what kind of self I want to be. And in order to become that self, I need to do certain kinds of things. I need to act in certain kinds of ways. I need to be more with certain kinds of people than other kinds of people. I need to arrange my life in a certain way so that what I've been given, my particular body, my particular abilities, my particular way of thinking about things can be shaped. It can be changed. It can be educated. It can be molded. It can be transformed. It can be tamed in some ways. But whatever you call it, it is a work of art. It is a way of constructing, shaping, creating, reforming, evolving, a way of connecting to the world that creates a particular light in the world, that creates a particular atmosphere and emotion. It creates a particular angle from which other people will perceive me and therefore respond to me. Now, what matters most of all for me is that when I create that way of being is as true as it can be, as attuned as it can be to what is real, to what is actually the case. So that has nothing to do particularly with me. It is much more to do with the world, the way the earth functions, the way science tells us, the laws of life function. But it's also to do with the kinds of ideas that human beings create and the kinds of worlds people shape and the ways of living that people enable us to use or enjoy. So for me, it goes well beyond that too. It goes towards all that is beyond the earth, in the universe, in the cosmos. It goes to what it's all about at the end of the day, what it's all for, what the purpose of human being is. And what I believe one of the tasks of my life is to find out about that as much as I can, in as realistic a way as possible, as truthful a way as possible, which means checking it out, testing it out, experimenting with it, and drawing conclusions, and reading lots and listening a lot to what other people have discovered. It's about accumulating wisdom about what it means to live well and to live in attunement, in accordance with what matters and what is actually the case. So for me, at the end of the day, it's not so much about authenticity as it is about becoming clearer and more open and more attuned and much more in line with as much as I can know of what is actually true. So for me, it's not about authenticity, but it's about true being aligned with what is way beyond me and which I want to be part of and direct myself towards. And when I do that, I feel in harmony with the world, and I also feel aligned with the force, if you like. Not that the force is with me, but I am with the force. So to be enabled by truth or by reality or by what is in reality is to be at my best. It is not to be concerned or preoccupied with my authentic or inauthentic way of being, but it is about doing as good a job as I can, reflecting what needs to be reflected, enabling what is of use to everybody else and what is true and good. And that is what I call truthful being. And that's what I strive for in my life, much more than for authentic being. Because as Heidegger described, we can never just be authentic anyway. We become inauthentic when we're taken over by other people or by the way society expects us to behave, and then we start resenting it, and that resentment becomes also very inauthentic. It's about conflict and struggle. But you see, conflict and struggle are a real part of what is the case. There is no doubt about that. So to be open to that conflict and struggle and the dynamics of, what I would like to think of as a dialectical way of evolving beyond that struggle, that is what matters. That is what always saves the day. Good luck with that truthful being, my friend, if you want to go down that path with me as well. All the best.